Hey guys, welcome back to PT Breakfast Club.
I mean, it's the perfect intro, man. We're jumping on the trend of the AI generated videos, and that's our version of like Yeti and Bigfoot, I guess.
Hang on,
here he comes. I'll play it again because Dave just got here. Here's our new intro. Tony made it this morning.
Hey guys, welcome back to PT Breakfast Club.
There it is. We've got our own AI generated intro.
yes.
That guy was all tall and skinny like Dave. I think, yeah. Clearly, the AI has been watching us.
Lean and mean.
But that's what you're able. That's what you're able to do with like sort of these AI generated things, which is, I mean, again, it's where it is right now. And I'm sure if you haven't seen the Bigfoot videos, I don't know how you've missed them, or maybe it just shows you what I click on. I don't know. It's in my algorithm. But Bigfoot and Yeti essentially acting like vloggers and just running around the world like, vloggers doing some weird stuff. I saw one though that actually had a product in it. It was the first time. So in my head,
the Zen.
I saw the Zen one.
Yeah.
In my mind, these accounts are sort of ambiguous because when I saw it, I was like, oh, which company has co-opted this? And the accounts are sort of like just weird names. But if you know anything about some YouTube or Facebook or even YouTube strategy, people will go on a strategy, build an audience, sometimes using questionable tactics, and then later on down the line, they'll completely flip the name or sell the name of the channel to someone else, purge all the videos, but you keep the followers. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like sort of an arbitrage that way. So I was sort of thinking like it might be an ambiguous, sort of innocuous Facebook account now, but then when I saw Zen, I was like, it could be the Zen people doing this. It could be someone else who sold it to Zen. We don't know. So that is definitely a strategy.
So what's interesting, it's a trend. Obviously, everybody's going to get sick of it quicker than, anything else. But the idea is this is clearly like successful. It's growing in popularity. Even it's, Jimmy, you might remember this, Dave, Cabbage Patch Kids. Like, go back.
I know you guys are way older than me, but it was still part of my, a little bit of my growth years. Yes.
Yeah, Cabbage Patch Kids, Beanie Babies, like all of this kind of stuff. The fidget spinners, like
snap bracelets.
Yeah, snap bracelets. So it's not going to last for 20 years. But you know what? If it put $1 million in your bank account in 2 weeks, like 100% people would jump on this. And this is one of those things where I got on this morning. Literally, I woke up, had my coffee, talked to my wife, had a great morning. Got on and said, how do I make a Yeti video that introduces the PT Breakfast Club? Got a couple tutorial videos, signed up for a 1-month trial on Envato, I think it's called, and started playing with this. Now, the first version didn't have audio. Second version had a little better. As I understand the prompts, I am going to figure out how to get a good quality Yeti video. And then I'm like, wouldn't it be hilarious if you created a couple of these right now when it's trending to talk about like how Dave's using the stim device, how I'm using Shockwave, how Jimmy's doing other things. Like we could have so much fun with this and bring that levity into the profession.
It's a different channel. It's a different way that you can create a character and you don't need to fly a character in or train them up or set up good lighting. You literally you tell it what you want the set to look like. Like, what was the prompt you got for this one that we're looking at right now?
I went into ChatGPT. I took elements from a YouTube video that I was watching and then had GPT reprocess it. And basically just like a quick one, it just said, hey, 10-second animated video, PT Breakfast Club. Modern setting is a modern physical therapy clinic with visible treatment tables, resistance bands, therapy balls, 3 large mythical forest creatures. I had to use that because I couldn't use our names. It was against their policy, and I couldn't use trademarked characters like Yeti. And then it said, 3 creatures, high top table, shoulder pulley, foam roll, clipboard with a treatment plan. The dialogue is, hey guys, welcome back to PT Breakfast Club. Today's podcast, it's supposed to say today's podcast, we're blowing up social media with news about physical therapy and how to grow your PT business. Fill a mug and tune in now. That's what it was supposed to say. It didn't say that. And then I said quirky, warm background music, finish with an animated PT Breakfast Club sign or text.
So it's close. But remember what graphics looked like in the beginning of ChatGPT? It always put like a 6th finger on people. It wasn't able to spell words correctly. It kept doing that. Give it a week and 10,000 prompts and modifications and improvements, and it'll be something different in a month.
Yeah.
That's my opinion. Well, let's talk about what you wear. Dave, you had shared something with us about a professional or attire. And this was, I think, the prompt that you had shared. We're professionals and we're paid for our expertise. Someone believes how we dress influences our client's perception of us, and with a level above what I'd wear at home. Not wearing jeans, a dressier but breathable top, closed-toed shoes. This person thinks scrubs suggest technician or medical assistant. Leggings or joggers suggest group exercise instructor. Tony said his Lululemon pants were in the shop. So what are your thoughts? Like is this bring back the no polo or polo argument?
Yeah.
I've always been fine with polos. There's a little bit of, Tony's got it with the branded. Not a fan of the whites obliques there, but I think they're, in general, it would be best to be, like this is like a collars and co shirt, like it's short sleeve, it's stretchy, but it's like it's like a button up collar. I think there's certain therapists, like whether it's Tony or it's Gene Chirac abroad or it's Urson Rehelioso or I don't know, Danny Mate and all those cash, therapists, and Ziad Dadul and all. Like Ziad Dadul, he treats patients. He's got a huge following. He's got multiple clinics. He's, I believe, mostly self-pay. He does a ton of stuff with ACL. I just saw a video this morning of him. He was wearing socks in this clinic with a backwards hat on, t-shirt, sweatpants, but he's not hurting for marketing. He's not hurting for retaining patients and clients. It doesn't seem like he's hurting for anything. I mean, I helped him start in the whole cash-based world 7 or whatever years ago. In general, though, like there's these therapists that are having trouble ramping up and launching their practice. It doesn't matter if you're in network, out of network, self-pay, you do Medicare, you don't take Medicare, whatever. If you're ramping up and you're looking to get like a foothold and you want to convey value in the first 5 or 10 seconds before you even open your mouth when you meet people, dress attire absolutely is crucial. But once you're Tony Meritato, you could wear whatever. You could wear a backwards hat like Ziad Dadul and wear socks. Tony can wear whatever, cargo baggy pants and whatever shirt or hoodie, Tony, whatever you want to wear. You already have so much other stuff that you've brought to the table with videos and content. People throw money at you and you could literally wear whatever you want. But the therapists that are like, what do I wear? And I'm looking to grow and I'm struggling or I'm stuck or I'm plateaued. I believe if you look good, you feel good, you perform better, it comes off better. I have a bias in terms of like our Manhattan, New York City clientele, but there's other clientele of ours that like, they probably don't care either. Anyway, but that's just my bias.
This is Chase. It's not his LinkedIn user profile isn't coming through, but this is Chase saying this. He says, I think as long as the clinician, are comfortable and it's on brand with the organization, it should be fine. I agree with Chase.
Yeah, on brand is the most important thing. I mean, your image conveys value. Your image conveys what you do. Like there is an image associated with, Silicon Valley tech bros, right? Like there's an image connected with CrossFit versus yoga versus Pilates. In our clinic, we curate that image very carefully, but at the same time, it's like, I understand my demographic. We're Midwest. It's a steel mill town. This is blue collar. We're working individuals. We're about family. So like when you come into my clinic, you don't really see high-end, polished, finished, like very expensive equipment. that is off brand for us. Plus, that's also not the experience we're trying to deliver. At the same time, though, you don't see a bunch of private rooms. You don't, everything we do is curated to attract the ideal client and deliver the experience we want to deliver. But I will say, like, you can go from white lab coat and want to be called doctor to yoga pants and, tank tops to whatever. You just need to do it intentionally.
Yeah. And I think you should do it consistently.
Yeah.
I think if somebody in your organization we're so outside of like so many standard deviations from the middle from what is normal there, it would just be like, I don't understand this. This doesn't make any sense. So it's got to make sense. Chase, who was saying that, is brick and mortar from Missouri. So that's where he is.
Yeah,
Have
so
you guys? Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, I was just gonna say, like, I had a new therapist start last year in December. He wore a button up to the in-person interview and evaluation that he and I did together as part of our interviewing process. And then the first visit with us was with one of our longtime clients who was doing, I think I posted online, but was doing one of the golf simulators at some place in Manhattan. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna tag along. And this was in December of last year. And I said to the therapist, I said, hey, can you just wear something? I know it was like freezing outside. It was like 25 degrees or 30 degrees or whatever. So obviously I know you're going to wear like a jacket or whatever, but I'm like underneath that, can you just wear the same type of shirt that you just wore for our in-person interview when you and I met? And then when we got to the place, he had a hoodie on and I'm like,
ooh, the hoodie's tough. It's a tough sell.
yeah, it's now, and then that same therapist, we won't mention names, and I don't want to have to go into it, but that therapist is like asking like why I don't send him new evaluations anymore because he's like, part-time or whatever. It's like just sometimes just no self-awareness. But that is like, okay, I need to convey that more because that it's not just me, but it's my therapist. I tell my therapist, hey, like really simple things like let's get solid black shoes. Like you need new shoes, I'll buy them, I'll pay for them, whatever. Like, solid black sneakers if you want to be comfortable. You don't have to wear dress shoes, but like certain things I especially if they're W-2 and I can actually do that legally and say like, hey, this is what I want, this is what I expect, this is what I want, I want you to dress or whatever. Then as W-2 employees, they can have to follow that versus if they're 1099 and they can, wear whatever they want. So, and that, we've talked about it before, like the brand promise and the brand extension, all that. So like when I'm not there, they're there and I want them to have the same type of presentation as I would if I were there.
You can do whatever you want, but you get what the other person expects. Like for some reason, I'm seeing these quotes from Robert Herjavec from Shark Tank. And he said this one quote where he's like, fear the man in the t-shirt, not the man in the suit. And he was talking about Mark Cuban. And he was like, I didn't understand it when I first met Mark Cuban. Like Robert Herjavec is known as like dressing to the nines. Like dude walks in and you're like, that guy's got some money, right? And he's looking at Mark Cuban going like, Mark, why do you dress like a schlub? Mark's like wearing like designer jeans and like a Led Zeppelin t-shirt that probably costs $1,000, but looks like a Led Zeppelin t-shirt. And Mark simply just says, because I can, man. Like, because I'm not trying to impress anybody in this room. Now that works to an extent. Right, because if you're trying to deliver,
the comparison is Tony and Ziad Abdul, who Ziad is wearing socks and a backwards hat, whatever, because he's already made it. Tony's already made it, has a following, all that. Mark Cuban already a billionaire on the show, so he's like, I'll wear whatever. And guess what? For the show over the last 10 years, he's been wearing a suit. If you've noticed, he doesn't wear the t-shirt.
Now, here's something funny. Different industry. I was in radio, and I went from being just a broadcaster to now the program director, and now I was going to different meetings. Half of my day, I was wearing a button-down shirt, right, and khakis, and half the other day, I was like, all right, now I'm in the radio studio, and I'm wearing cargo shorts and a Guns N' Roses t-shirt, and I'm being McKay. In the first half of the day, I'm Jimmy McKay, program director. The second half of the day, I'm on the air. The funny part was it didn't work because a lot of people knew me first. The people we're trying to meet with, local business owners, to get them to buy in. They'd see me in the meeting and be like, that doesn't make any sense. So my boss was like, be McKay the whole time. This is the persona you've given out in your 10 years in Northeast Pennsylvania. It was confusing to people. Like, wait, you're the boss, but you're not really like that guy who's screaming and giving away beer and concert tickets all the time. So the boss was like, Stop being, be that guy, be the operator. But when you meet with people, you have to keep that consistent. So I would say that's the last one, right? Consistency in that thing.
Yeah,
I worked in a peds clinic, and they said pretty much whatever you want because you're going to get vomit and snot and spit and urine. So it didn't matter.
So I know we're going to talk about asking for referrals, but to something Dave brought up that I thought was really interesting, I wanted to mention. Dave said, because it's a W-2 employee, I can tell that person what to do. I saw, and I think we all know, I think he's on Long Island, Dave Harvitz. He's a physical therapist, and I don't know if he does total motion or what he does, but anyway, he had said, he's been sharing more clips lately, and he had said nobody works for him until they've done a 6-month like internship basically to learn his methodology. And I've known other therapists that I respect greatly who are very similar in that mindset. I want to hear more from Dave Kittle on this. Like, I remember 25 years ago thinking, I read E-Myth Revisited. I understood Michael Gerber's position. I was like, all right, I'm going to build the system, and I've got the ideas and I've got the model, and people are going to do what I tell them to do because I'm paying their salary. Heck no. Like, where do we draw the line in this between the professional autonomy of the physical therapist coming to work for us and us building a business that delivers the results that we want to deliver? I think they are not technicians. They're not, cogs in the wheel. They're not going to build the widget that I want them to build. I don't believe I have the real authority to say, this is what you need to do. I need a visor. Dave, what's your position on that? Because I have found over the years that when I hire someone, if I think I'm going to tell them what to do, I am always disappointed. I just need to hire the person who's doing what I want and let them do it.
I agree. It is a little bit in between, or at the very least, it is hiring them to fulfill the style of therapy visit that I want. It's not going to be exactly like when they do an evaluation or a treatment visit. It's not going to be exactly the way I would do it. It's not going to be exactly the way Tony Maritato or Jimmy McKay would do it. It's not going to be the same way that some other staff therapists would do it. But overall, if the patient and client is happy, they're impressed, they hopefully feel a little bit better, they feel acknowledged, listened to, they feel heard, and they're interested in continuing to invest in their health and wellness, that's all that matters. I want them to establish that. No, I can't tell them exactly what to do. I can't tell them only do 2 manual muscle tests or do exactly this structure or do exactly this type of treatment. I definitely do suggest, treatment types, or if they have, we had a younger client recently with complex regional pain syndrome, and I told one of my therapists, like, yeah, so like, let's do the stim pod locally on the location of discomfort, but then also at the earlobe part for the vagus nerve stimulation, 5 minutes each position, each spot, or 10 minutes max each position, and then all your other normal stuff. But I'll give suggestions. But no, I agree, Tony. I can't tell them exactly what to do, but that's part of my whole like intro phone call, Zoom video interview where we're talking about, do my core values match their core values? They're telling me stories about their past. I can start to get to know them a little bit more. Then we meet in person. They evaluate me as a fake patient. I check the references. We do a career history form that they have to fill out. And so from all those, 5 touch points, I can start to, cluster an approximation of, will they be the right fit to deliver the style of treatment that I want? But no, it's not. They're not cogs in the wheel, and they're not doing like do step 1, then step 2, then step 3 and all that. So I don't, especially with mobile, like they're going to do whatever they want anyway. Like I can't tell them exactly what to do treatment wise.
Yeah. It's got to fit. Like, I mean, how many times you've been meeting with someone and saying, this isn't going to be a good fit at all, right? I'm sure you've weeded people out, or, hey, I've got the perfect person for you. It sounds like I'm going to match this person's energy. If you got someone on your staff that's pretty quiet, you got someone who's really verbose and high energy, you're like, this isn't going to match. But if you've got someone on your staff, so this is where variability, I think, could be one of your superpowers. Is yes, the quality is our table stakes, right? And understanding what the brand is, table stakes. But I think especially with the rise in AI, it's going to be the differences and the things that you bring to the table that someone else can't is going to be your unique selling point.
Now, I think this is where it can be turned into an advantage. So I've had therapists on my staff that I would never do what they do in patient care and interventions. But because I had them on the team, I could be like, okay, this patient is perfect for that therapist. Like this patient was made for that therapist. I put those two together. They've got a 10-year relationship. If I didn't have that person, if I was only, a CrossFit gym that just does CrossFit, I have no other option than to send that person somewhere else or try to force that person into my model. That's not going to work for them. So once I let go of the idea that, hey, this is Tony's physical therapy clinic, you're going to do it my way or the highway, it allowed me to expand the team and offer alternatives to my personality that really helped us grow over the years. Now that I'm older, more established, less interested in growth, I'm like, I'm not going to bring someone on the team who's just going to, go at odds with what the rest of us is doing. So that's why we haven't grown.
I have another funny anecdote from this past week. I know we're Thursday. This past week, in terms of that exact thing, we're talking about expectations, and we had a patient reaching out for her father. The father specifically wanted a female therapist. They had asked for like not physical therapy. They had asked for a massage. I say to my therapist in Manhattan, it's a female physical therapist. She's licensed as a physical therapist. She's also licensed as a massage therapist. I say to that physical therapist, this client, this intersection or this address, you're okay with? Yes, nearby. Okay, great. I spoke to the daughter. She's getting this for her father. The father, for whatever reason, he's old school, maybe doesn't want a male touching him. I don't know, but he's requesting a female therapist. I said, he's looking for, and he wants, now he's 90 something years old. He doesn't want to do squats and balance drills and all that. They want massage. They want massage and soft tissue work. Therapist says to me, well, did they know that we're physical therapists? I'm like, but you're a physical therapist, but you're also a massage therapist.
Right.
Therapist goes and does the home visit. How many minutes? So we do 60-minute visits. How many minutes do you guys think was actually massage or soft tissue work? Just hypothetically. You don't know any other details or context.
10. I don't know. Like
I was going to say 15.
30. But it doesn't matter because the client, older gentleman, told his daughter that he didn't get a massage because the expectations were so out of whack. And maybe I dropped the ball a little bit with communication, but I knew this therapist is licensed in New York as a PT and a massage therapist for whatever reason. And I said to the therapist, they don't want a physical therapy evaluation. In fact, I didn't even speak to the therapist. All this has a paper trail. All this is over text and email. So we can't right now, but if we wanted to, we could pull it up and I could read it. And it's unbelievable. Like it's in text. What the client is paying out of pocket for, not what their insurance is covering. The insurance, of course, would want the physical therapy evaluation of whatever complexity. That's not it. The client is paying out of pocket. The family's paying out of pocket. This is something that they want, not something that they need. They don't want physical therapy. They want massage, holistic wellness, whatever they were talking about with soft tissue work or whatever. And
Jimmy, what do you tell people? Like I see this every single day. It's I'm the therapist, I'm the professional. This is about me. I will, tell you what to do versus the client coming in who's like, I'm in pain, I'm sore, I want you to make me feel better. This is how I want you to make me feel better. The therapist thinks that they're the ones saying it. Like, how do you help that therapist either acknowledge, okay, I'm here to serve or I'm here to do what I want, or, just change the mindsets? What do we do?
Start with the goal. And I don't mean the therapeutic goal. I mean, what is the goal? The goal is to align with this person, to figure out, can I actually deliver what they want? I'm sure you have enough tools in your toolbox to deliver that, but asking what is being asked of them, that person, like what Dave is probably looking at, I'm not gonna put words in your mouth, is this is a great opportunity to give what a person is asking for, that you actually have dual certification in, right? Massage and PT, build a relationship. So down the line, actually, what I think he needs is to really be doing some stairs because he wants to get back on using the subway. But episode number 1, yeah, I probably would have said, like, you tell me Tell me what success would look like in 60 minutes from now. Well, I really need a massage because I can't, my back's totally jacked up. Great. Trying to force your narrative on them. Well, actually, your iliocostalis muscles are, and being like, we're going to do this for 30, but then we're going to do other stuff. That's a miss. That is what happens when we have dictation by insurance, not where Dave is. So I think that was a miss, but there must be reasons why. Why do you think that therapist did that?
I think what Tony just said hit it on the head, which is the therapist did what they wanted to do. And here's also a caveat, which is actually financially against that therapist's own wallet. That therapist works full-time somewhere else. They already are busy with Luna patients. And I go, this was a while ago. I go, how much is Luna paying these days? You're getting like 75, 80, $85 a visit, right? Yeah, with bonus, whatever. And I go, and by the way, this client's paying $350 a visit. And I go, well, I'll pay you $100. So I can beat Luna. I can be way more competitive than Luna. I said, moving forward, effective today, whatever this was, I can, you're up to $100 a visit for all of our visits. And this therapist knew this. Now, this family is not going to continue with us. I even tried to switch to another female therapist yesterday. I tried to salvage this, and they're like already completely
because they asked for something. I asked for pepperoni, and you gave me half pepperoni and half anchovy. I didn't ask for that.
But I mean, isn't it wild that I can pay more than Luna? This therapist might have had, I don't know, 5 or 10 or however many more encounters with this client if they actually listened to what I said and what the client wanted, not did what they wanted, and they just lost $1,000 of future income.
I've never, and maybe it's just the therapist that I tend to connect with, I've never seen a therapist be motivated by money, period. I've never seen bonuses that motivate the therapist that I'm working with and associated with. I've never seen incentive plans. I've never seen profit sharing, and we've had this conversation before, but it's like logic does not play a role, because logic would say, hey, even for the people complaining about money, I don't get paid enough. It doesn't matter. It's first, I want to do what I want to do, what I believe is best. And it could be you believe this is what's in the best interest of the patient. And second, I also need to make a living. But I've just never in our profession seen therapists motivated by money who are willing to change their primary, driver because they can make a little more doing something else. I'm sure they exist. Go ahead.
It's so wild though, because this person who we don't know is dual. She's also a licensed massage therapist. So it's not like you gave her something that was out of her, like something that she'd never do. It's like you literally have this skill set and you can write it down on a resume, and this person is asking for that thing. So, and I also think, Tony, that studies will show on the large part, most financial bonuses don't actually work. They aren't as successful as people think. They'll take it because they're not idiots, but it actually doesn't change the drive of the thing that you think it does. Outside of like bum fights, $50 actually works. Remember bum fights?
I remember.
Very, very bad.
That was like 20 years ago, early YouTube.
I'm glad you guys just brought up the fact that there are the therapists on social media and these Facebook groups creating like the salary reports or like the spreadsheets of different salary offers across the country. Because there is a little bit more of that. I'll say it's not going to fully change. Like I agree with Tony, it's not going to fully change a physical therapist's behavior and what they're delivering. No. But there is a little bit more of like, I need to be paid because I have all the student loan debt or whatever.
But do you hear that so I'm in those Facebook groups too. Now look for this and see if you see it, like the red Jeep theory. Now all you're going to see it. They're asking if they're being paid fairly.
Yeah. I'm
this person in this setting, in this location. Is this fair? The funny part is they just want to make sure they're not on the bottom third. Like, am I in the middle, right? Which is fine. Like, I totally understand that. And you should be doing that. But yeah, motivation by money, increase your average plan of, visits per plan of care by 50%, and that person will get $1,000 this month. I don't see people jumping at that. It's not in their nature.
So let's take that idea to asking for referrals. Dave, what you got?
Yes. So yesterday, to continue on the concierge pain relief video content creation, I crashed a visit with one of my longtime clients who is now being treated by my therapist, Poris Mehta. It was awesome. I took a whole bunch of videos like in the client's apartment, in the hallway, with the doorman, walking on Park Ave, walking in Central Park, looking over the Jacqueline Onassis Reservoir, which is up in the upper part
Upper
of
East.
Central Park that Jimmy's familiar with, and we did a whole bunch of videos, and then leading up to the encounter, like the day before, a couple of days before, I was saying to my therapist, I'm like, hey, I said to Porus, I was like, this client has been with us for like a year or more, and like they haven't referred anyone to us. I said, I'm like, I'm gonna show you how to indirectly and directly ask this patient for referrals. I'm gonna do it right in front of you, and we're gonna touch on it multiple times. Now, of course, we talked about, I mean, the visit was like over an hour because we took our time walking in the park, and he did some balance drills and stuff in Central Park, but indirectly here and there, whether we were talking about baseball and the Yankees and different topics and all that, but I would pick little parts to mention, because he's going back into the office, he's clearing out old boxes, he's kind of like retired, semi-retired from a big M&A law firm, and so I was asking directly and indirectly for referrals. I said, hey, who might that would benefit from our services the way that you've benefited from them? And I think it's important sometimes to just show other therapists. I didn't get that part recorded, but I was kind of nicely hinting at it. But then I was also directly asking right next to the patient, right to the patient, and my therapist was right there. Clients like, oh, absolutely, I'll keep you in mind for colleagues and friends and neighbors and absolutely anyone that needs it, whatever, absolutely. And then after the visit, my therapist says, I've said things like that to him like 20, 25 times. And I go, what do you mean? Well, he's like, yeah, I've asked for referrals different ways, and I try to mention that, and it just it just hasn't happened. I go, okay, interesting. I go, what do you think that is? And we talked about it, and he said, well, this type of a patient client, like they kind of talk about themselves a lot. So I don't know, maybe that's something for us to talk about. Where do people are there certain psychographics, are there certain personality traits that result in someone referring more for local services compared to other folks? I don't know. That's maybe a topic we can discuss.
Yeah.
But then the funny thing is the wife of this patient, I cannot believe this happened. The wife of the patient who I just met up with yesterday at 8:27 a.m. today, emailed me the very first referral when I was just there. Yes, I have not seen this patient in 6 or 8 months or something. Porus has been treating this patient this whole time. I don't know if it's a coincidence, but all of a sudden they referred someone to us. Sometimes you just got to remind yourself out there, if you have a practice, if you're not getting referrals from therapists, maybe they need to hear you and see you do it. Maybe you need to touch base with the patients and clients. Maybe you need to do a telehealth call if you're mobile, or you have to do something in the clinic or something. Maybe my therapist is right, and maybe I'm a little bit right, where it was just a coincidence and now they're referring someone to me for the very first time. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think it's locks and keys. It's, the right way of asking someone for a referral is going to work on one person and not work on another, and vice versa. How would you train someone up? Like if you had a brand new PT, right? They're pure as the driven snow. How would you sort of give them opportunities to say that? Like for me, I like the straightforward and indirect. That sounds confusing, but I say, is there one person that you could think of that you think something like this would benefit? So that's straightforward, but also a little bit like open-ended. So straightforward and not indirect, but straight, direct, but also open-ended. For me, it opens the door because it doesn't force them into that. But is there someone, you're telling me you can't think of one person that would also benefit for this? But you're not doing it in their face. Tony, like what have you seen as like better strategies for doing that?
So, my wife got really mad at me this weekend because we were talking about our kids. We were talking about personalities, and I was like, you realize they just come that way. And I always say this, I'm like, if we would have had one of our boys first, we would have thought we were experts on parenting and raising kids, and we would have written a book and we would have self-published it. If we had a different one of our boys born first, we would have thought we were the worst parents in the world. Like, This is just, now I tend to be very like, I don't know if the words existential. I remember reading, existentialism, and I was like, it doesn't matter what you do. The universe is going to do what the universe is going to do. This is a similar situation. I think if you find what works for the therapist, I could never say what Jimmy just said. I would feel dirty and disgusting. And, to me, it's like, hey, how's your husband doing? Oh yeah. He looks like he's limping around. Like, I know he doesn't want to do therapy, but if he just wants to ask me a question, I'm happy to answer it. No ties. I'm not going to make him do it. And even yesterday, I'm in the dental hygienist chair. I'm getting my teeth cleaned. They always ask a million questions while they're cleaning your teeth. How have they not learned? They just talk or don't talk, whatever. He asked me about his sciatica. And I'm like, hey, here's the deal. Are you doing this? Are you doing this? Are you doing this? He's like, yeah. I'm like, you're good. There's nothing else that I could tell you. Deal with it. It's going to go away. Nothing anybody else tells you matters. But, if I really believe that I had the secret cure to his sciatica and I believed it deep in my heart, I would have converted him into a client. He would have come to me for physical therapy. But because I don't believe there's a cure to his sciatica, he's already eating well, exercising, doing all the stuff he's supposed to do, I'm never going to convert him into a patient. You have to have that deep held belief, whether it's real or fake, doesn't matter. It has to be genuine. Yep. And it has to kind of be in line with your personality type. I am always going to tell people, you probably don't need anything. Just give it a little time. Just move a little more. Just exercise, eat a little better, sleep a little better. That's my solution to and that's probably why I'm not as aggressive, like promoting the profession and fighting for our rights and doing all of those things, because I really think most of it, placebo at best. Even exercise has a massive placebo benefit. I don't have that kind of conviction that would cause somebody to pull $350 out of their pocket.
I think to answer Jimmy's question around how else could you help staff with this, I simply role play. So what I did is I used ChatGPT yesterday, and I prompted it to say, give me a list of 20 questions for my concierge pain and relief practice on how to ask for referrals, such as statements or questions like, the biggest compliment that you can give us is referring us to a friend or family, something like that. And there's different ways of
doing that.
Well, I mean, there's like Ron Miller has that sign in his practice, and they are like wildly successful with
a sign is fine, but I don't think I could say that out loud.
Yeah, no, it's something that's unique. So anyway, I got a whole bunch of questions like, before we wrap up today, who's the first person that comes to mind who needs this level of care? Now that's super direct. Or like something kind of Tony said, like, if someone you care about was dealing with this type of pain, who would you send them, or would you send them to us, or what would you say to them, or whatever. So there's a bunch of different ways to even use ChatGPT to. And I said, give me these 20 questions using Alex Hormozi's, sales psychology, and Robert Cialdini's, style of questioning from, persuasive psychology and his book Persuasion. So I got a bunch of questions, and these types of things, they should also be automated. Like they could be text and email automation. It could be role playing with your therapist, so that your therapists are actually saying it and finding a question that they like, that resonates with them, where they don't feel icky, because if they feel icky, they're not going to do it at all.
Agreed.
I think that's the thing. I love role playing. I think that's 100% what needs to happen. And if I'm trying to get someone on the team to sell more, I role play with them, figure out where they're comfortable, what makes sense to them. They're clearly passionate about what they're doing, and then go down that road. I don't think we can go, from here's the strategy, I want you to use this tactic. It's let me figure out what's going to resonate with you personally, what's going to make you feel good. And then let's pick the framework, the strategy that works with that individual's personality.
Yeah. Lock and key. And it's trial and error. It's figuring it out. It's reading the room and trying.
Just to circle back on a minute or two about Tony, I think the audience would want me to push back on the thing of like the sciatica. I mean, the thing that's worked well for us is the total motion release stuff with Tom Delonzo Baker and Dean Volk that does it. And Dean's got like, I don't know, dozens or hundreds or however many crazy positive case studies from folks that he's helped over telehealth because of the one-sided movement, basically repeated movements to a good side, a good leg, a good trunk rotation twist. And it really, it does work well. Like in the beginning, when you're kind of learning it, it's like, I don't know, this doesn't really work. And I feel dumb telling a patient or client to exercise or move the uninvolved side, the pain-free side, because in school we're taught about stretching the painful leg, the leg with sciatica. We're taught to stretch and mobilize and move that leg. And so I believe in that. I teach my therapist that. And yeah, that's just another component, Tony, is like what type of level of belief that we have of like, are we actually affecting things? Are we using the stim pod that beeps out loud? Is there's a little bit of that, medical or therapeutic theater or medical medicine, theater of medicine, whatever you call it. So anyway, I think all these components are part of it.
You're right. I've said it before. I had a therapist who worked for me, very successful therapist. His patients loved him. We still have patients coming back asking for him. I paid for him to go through Tom's program. I paid for him to do total motion. We know Charlie Johnson does an amazing job, all online, all virtual. I mean, you go back to like MDT and McKenzie and all of these different things. It still, though, I think boils down to, does the therapist really believe as passionately as they need to that the intervention works? Because I can do exactly the same thing, but I don't have the belief and I don't get the results, And so, but I don't know. I don't know that I want to convince somebody to follow one way or another. It's just that's what I've seen in the clinic.
That's the reason I had problem being in a clinic. Like I wanted the answer. And there wasn't the answer. And I had a problem. I had a real problem selling the thing that I wasn't sure. Like I didn't want to do it. That's, I think, why I wound up in peds. It's like, I talked to Amy, who was my mentor in pediatrics for a year. And I'm like, what do I need to be good at peds? She was like, want to have fun, do stuff, get them to move. And I was like, check, check, check. I could do that all day. But that's difficult. I think that's a problem for some people because you go through school where there always is the answer. And then the closer you get to graduation in PT schools, everything becomes it depends and ambiguous. And it's like, you got to be okay with that change. And I don't think I was.
Yeah.
Someone thinks sciatica is a headache in the ass. I don't know if that is. Of course, there's I've never heard of sciatica as a headache in the ass. Thank you for highlighting that, John.
I love John. I'm excited to see what John does. He's down in Georgia.
That's classic. Love that.
Stephen Dunn, TMR is certainly interesting. Seeing it help lots of patients. I had a patient yesterday, young female, mother of two. She was like clearly a successful power lifter. She was talking about wanting to, get back to lifting and squatting and deadlifting and all this stuff. Had incredible PRs. Like, I was just blown away. She had somebody tell her, hey, you have a leg length discrepancy. And she had success with muscle energy techniques. And I told her right there, like very point blank, I said, look, I am not the therapist who is like going to sell you the manual, muscle energy technique. I said, here's the deal. I've seen it work for people. I've seen them come in. I've seen them leave feeling 100% better. I will do the best that I can do, and I will copy those strategies because that is what you come in telling me that you want. But I have to tell you in my heart, it makes no sense. I don't understand why this works. Why would this little push here, pull there? Why would you then not get up off the table, put any weight through a leg, and it throws everything back out of whack? But I said, that doesn't mean it didn't, help 100 other people. Doesn't mean I'm not going to do my best to help you right now today. But I need you to understand that I don't have the same kind of buy-in that previous therapist had. So let's see what we can do. And I mean, that probably destroyed any chance of anything I do working for that person. Yeah. But I also had to be genuine with that person and say, I don't understand. I see it work. I don't understand why.
Who cares, Tony? You could help these people
You're
conservatively, right, as opposed to them, like, they're going to listen to you and they're going to be like, that guy is like I don't know, weird. He's like too honest. Like
Yep.
is it a business? Is
Yeah.
it a nonprofit? What is he doing? Like you could be helping people avoid pain pills and injections
Yep.
and all the crap that they actually don't need. And I'm not saying for you to sell snake oil and try to like, squeeze as much out of their wallet as possible. But I feel like you're being too, Jimmy, you got to support me on this. I feel like he's
Yeah, yeah,
being
yeah.
too
I would
like,
say be honest and be like, I don't
what's the
know.
word? Like too honest, like
I
extreme,
would
like,
say, like, would you be okay with saying, let's get you in the clinic and let's try a few things and we'll see which ones work, and then we'll double down on the ones that work, and then I'll teach you how to
right.
do it yourself and put you on your way.
There we go.
No, you're 100% right. My kids, I think about the things that I tell my kids, and I'm like, I don't think I need to tell my kids this today. They don't need to hear this. They don't need to know the background. There is intentional disclosures that happen
Yeah.
and don't happen for a reason. You guys are 1,000,000% right. It's a lesson that I clearly haven't learned in 25 years. So we'll see what happens. Maybe tomorrow I'll figure it out.
No, that's your way. And I mean, if that's your way, I've gone from trying to change people's ways to just realizing sort of like nudges, affirmations, suggestions. I make suggestions, you make decisions, really. If that's your way, don't change it. I think for other people that's how I would probably approach it.
But I think it's to the detriment of the client. I really do. Like, I think my actions, my ego, and I think it comes down to my ego. It makes me feel smart to downplay somebody else's success. I'm trying to do a little psychoanalysis on myself. I do think it's my ego that gets in the way. And I think it's to the detriment of the patient, because like Dave said, the patient doesn't care. They want to feel better. If there's a chance that this will make them feel better, and it's not making them financially dependent on me, it's not making me the healer and the guru and, the shaman, I should shut my DA mouth and just do what needs to be done to make that person feel better. My ego gets in the way, no doubt.
I think there's people on the other end of the spectrum too, who overpromise and I am the guru, I am the god, everything I say, everything I do works 100%.
Yeah,
of the time.
where's the sweet spot? Because it sure ain't either side of the spectrum.
It's the middle.
Sure
it's always the middle, man.
It's not the crazy Cairo on one side or Tony what you're displaying on the other side. It's somewhere in the middle.
It is. I mean, that's a semi-universal truth. Is the answer is probably some. Should we use AI for everything or nothing? I'm like, probably some stuff. Probably not everything, but some stuff. And I think we get caught up in, I need to convince you that this is the singular solution. Have you guys ever found a singular solution for anything? I haven't. There's not the singular. There's some things that work more than others, some things that don't work at all, and there's a bunch of stuff in the middle.
So let's if we have like 10 more minutes, let's do a quick pivot. This kind of still ties in. You guys can decide. We could talk about we were talking about product sales in the private chat. I've got some interesting information and ideas about NeuroGum. I actually want to try it. I've never had it. Zyn patches and NeuroGum. We talked about Zyn earlier.
Well, it's a placebo, right?
I don't think it is. I mean, I think it's like caffeine and neuro, stuff. I think there's a physiologic effect.
So hold on a second. So NeuroGum, I'm on neurogum.com. I'm sharing the screen here. It's showing
a little
that
quick backstory on this. And I don't know anything about the company or the brand, but they originally were on Shark Tank. They did not get a deal on Shark Tank. Then they went, did their own thing. I was listening to a podcast. Just imagine this. On TikTok right now, NeuroGum has just under 100,000 followers. That's barely anything for TikTok. Yet they did 26 million in revenue through TikTok Shop. They launched January 24th. Their biggest month, they did $1 million, in gross revenue on TikTok Shop alone, not anything else. One single day, they did $250,000 in sales from creator-generated content in a single day. I don't know if people know how TikTok Shop works, but if you have 5,000 followers on TikTok, you can become an affiliate. If you're an affiliate, you can create videos and you can put products in your video, like links to buy the product. TikTok Shop is going to be a major, major competitor, if not already, for Amazon, huge market share. My point in all of this is something like this. I don't want to go and sell supplements. I don't want to have supplements in my clinic, and I don't want to mess with all that stuff. But like, I can go create, if I try this and I like it, I can go create TikTok videos. I can use this in my patient care, my plans of care, stuff like that. And I mean, I've seen people that have done $20,000 in a week from affiliate income using TikTok Shop. Have you guys followed any of this stuff?
No, I don't. So you're saying someone would be an affiliate of NeuroGum and they would sell it for them and they would take a cut?
Well, you become an affiliate on TikTok, and then any product that's selling on TikTok, you can effectively put a link to buy that product. You create a video for that product. So you're not doing an individual affiliate deal with NeuroGum. You're doing, I am an affiliate for TikTok and any of the products. So like, I've been getting a couple of sales from little pedal exercisers and flex bars and grippers and things like that. But I've never tried anything with like a big time product like this. Like, these are all user generated content videos. It's just amazing. And we're using stuff every single day. Dave is starting to do stuff for the STEM device. But these are some incredible opportunities for any therapist right now using anything from TheraBand to, high-end equipment.
I remember this was a big part of the discussion when Instagram first came out and there was a bunch of popularity around it, and you couldn't do things like this. And people were like, how come you can show me yoga pants in a great photo with a model or just a regular person wearing yoga pants, but I can't click it and I've got to say link in bio? Like, why is there that friction point? Now that is sort of, that wall has sort of come down, but you can see an app like TikTok embraced it sooner, faster, deeper.
Dave?
So Tony, why would you not go directly to NeuroGum for some affiliate deal? Because TikTok's going to take a piece of this, I'm assuming, because TikTok is doing this like a cross-platform affiliate deal, and they're going to be the fire hose that would potentially get Tony's video about NeuroGum in front of more people. So maybe they take a little bit of the affiliate fee instead of you getting whatever the affiliate deal is from NeuroGum. TikTok's going to take some, and then some of that gets over to Tony Maritato. But if you only did it directly with NeuroGum, maybe you get less eyeballs on that actual, the video or the whole affiliate fire hose of, do they put that video in the news feed or whatever, whatever the main page of TikTok. Is that basically it?
That's exactly it. And so in this interview, they were talking about that. You could, if you had a big enough audience that's going to move the needle on a company that size, you could go straight to NeuroGum, create a deal directly with NeuroGum. There are PTs who do that. I've got affiliate deals with large product companies. But in the beginning, you don't have the audience, you don't have the eyeballs, the attention. The easiest way, like literally a therapist can do this right now, you just go in through TikTok, monetize their relationship to NeuroGum. What I like about TikTok and the way that's set up is when I create a video, like there are these flex bars from a competitor, not from TheraBand. They're really great. They're really cheap. They're a product out of China. I create a video. That product company now, without me doing anything, can put money behind TikTok run ads to promote my video. So I receive the affiliate commission. The company is putting money behind my video. I don't have to pay to get that video out there. And it's multiple layers of, drive to push that content out there. Now, what NeuroGum did that's really interesting is they created their own creator community. They have a private group. They have events. They bring people together. And the top 1% within that community, they've cultivated them. These were independent creators that came into their community. They cultivated them. They supported them. They said, guys, this is what's working. This is what's going well. And it accelerates the success and the growth for them. Jimmy and I, Dave, I think we've all talked about that, like within the PT community, OTs, SLPs, there's so much opportunity for us to come out, talk about these products, kind of learn from each other, accelerate the growth to see, okay, the Yeti videos are like killing it right now. let's create some Yeti videos. Well, what are you doing? How are you doing it? What's working? What's not? I mean, I just, if we're separate, we're never going to be as strong and successful as coming together like that.
That's the thing. We've flirted with the idea of individual channels, podcasts, YouTube channels, or social platforms. Individuals are going to get a little bit. And how could you put those things? How could you create the Barstool Sports to be able to combine and then share with each other? Because now you're going to have more momentum. That's the $1 million, the $10 million question is, how do you combine those things to get people rowing in the same direction that are motivated financially, like the right way? Like, I'm putting in this much effort. Like, that's the first question someone asks is, oh, can you make a brand video for us? What are you paying me? It's like, okay, great. I don't know how to pay you because I don't know how this is going to turn out. So I'm blind guessing. This was like 10, 15 years ago. People were like sponsoring stuff, sponsoring influencers, and they were just setting prices, just making them up. It's $200 a post. And then after you don't see the result that you expect, you either reject that particular channel or you reject the practice altogether. So I think that the thing that we're looking at here is like TikTok has all of the attention or most of the attention. So they get to sort of dictate now. So the only way you can do this is leverage, is by becoming larger.
Have you guys ever bought any products off of TikTok?
Oh no.
No.
I have.
Have you?
I have. I literally just did. It is really like frictionless. Once you get your information in, and I was super sketchy about like, credit card and all this stuff. I mean, but once I did it, I realized it's like Amazon. It is just frictionless to make that purchase. And to my understanding, and I might be wrong, but TikTok is really, really pushing, like financially supporting, incentivizing more people to come off of Amazon onto TikTok. We recently, when all the tariff news was coming out, we saw all these companies. We create Gucci and we create Hoka. So next time we'll talk about Fleet Feet. They have an amazing sales process. I think therapists should be doing this. This goes to Doug. Can't remember his last name. The gait analysis.
Doug
Adams.
Doug Adams. Like, we've talked about it a little bit, but his hardware in a physical therapy clinic to sell the plans of care, it's an amazing streamlined process. Fleet Feet does something very similar, and they've been able to train kids who know nothing about feet or footwear to sell $300 shoes. But what I was saying was Hoka factories are selling Hokas without the brand name for like $50 through TikTok Shop. You know, same factory, same design, same everything. You just don't get the 4 letters.
Smart.
All right.
Did you buy Neurogum or did you buy Hokas without the Hoka on it?
I'm going to. I haven't. I'm a minimalist shoe guy, but I need to buy a pair. I'm going to do the affiliate user-generated content videos for it. I will, and then we'll talk about it on the show.
All right.
Parting shots.
All right. My parting shot. Go look at the opportunity in product sales. Think about how you can wrap that into patient care. If you're not making the money from Medicare treating Medicare beneficiaries, sell some products that patients are desperately wanting to buy. The numbers on product sales are ridiculous, and it's so easy for you to do.
No one's going to do it because they're bleeding hearts. What you're talking to the 1%, but that's who we talk to. We're talking to the 1%. Dave, what do you got?
Ask for referrals. I mean, if you believe in what you do, ask for referrals, ask different ways, directly, indirectly, send emails, send text messages. For me, get back in front of your patients, recreate, remind them, or the easiest thing is a peak of happiness. Oh, I just got, my trigger finger range of motion back because I did Shockwave with Tony Maritato at his office. Now I can do opposition. I can touch all my fingers together. Wow. Peak of happiness like that. We might not have that patient be any happier than right now, ever. Right there. Hey, do you have Gmail? Do you use Google? Great. So can you post us a Google review of exactly what you just said? Post reviews, ask for referrals. Hey, your neighbors, friends, clients, buddies, coworkers, whatever. as for referrals, I don't think therapists do enough of it.
Yeah, we didn't necessarily talk about it today, but my parting shot is sort of in line with what Dave was just saying, which is if you're not going to talk positively, frequently, often, and passionately about your own clinic, no one's going to. So get comfortable doing that. And it doesn't need to be anything icky. There's 10,000 styles. There's no one right way to do that. But if you're not going to do it, understand that no one's going to do it as frequent, as often, as passionately as you do it. So 6 months down the line, if you're not getting paid what you're worth, or things are getting difficult, look in the mirror.
Hey, real quick before Jimmy closes, if somebody wants to do that Yeti video, I'm going to try to do one where it's a physical therapist doing an evaluation on Bigfoot for plantar fasciitis.
That'd be
Like,
great.
think of all of the things we could do with this. Go ahead, Jimmy, close it.
Love it. We'll see you guys back on Tuesday. I want to hear from you. If you got something you've heard and then tried yourself and had good or bad results, call us out or tell us we were right. We'd like to hear when we're right, but we don't mind hearing when we're wrong. We'll see you guys on Tuesday.
The PT Breakfast Club, I'm Ode, where morning coffee meets movement science.